What's going on, guys, gals, non-binary pals? Artisan Kane here, coming at you with the first week of TPL Season 2. This week, the Bad Lombres take on my buddy Andrew, coach of the Nordic Noiverns. If you haven't already seen our team build and our team preview, I definitely recommend checking that out. That way you get an idea of why we brought the builds that we brought and what we were expecting here facing Andrew. Put a link for that in the description. So with that, we'll hop right into it. So as you can see here, choosing the participating team, we've got Arcanine with a Life Orb, Primarina, Choice Specs, Tentacruel, Black Sludge, Vanillux with the Never Melt Ice, Dracovish, Choice Scarf, Hydreigon lefties. So as I mentioned in the previous video, 100% of the time we're leading off Vanillux. I definitely do expect the Galvantula lead. Andrew really likes to get up his sticky web, or he does have the compound eyes on it. So we have enough bulk on Vanillux here to be able to take a Thunder and Revenge Kill with a Blizzard, because Galvantula does outspeed. But in any case, we do kind of hesitate there on that on the intro screen, and the reason for that is we noticed that he decides this week to bring Exploud. I definitely wasn't expecting him to bring Exploud. Exploud is one of the mons that he recently picked up in the latest draft. I think it was his 7th round pick. So that kind of caught me a little bit off guard as well as choosing there. So as you see, we do see the Galvantula here first. Vanillux is perfect for that. We're going to get the Snow Warning off, make sure we hit our Blizzards 100% of the time, and we're just going to not think and just fire one of those offs. Even if he does hit us with Thunder, we'll be able to live, but he actually does decide to go for the Sticky Web, which we can take care of later, but right now we just want to get this thing knocked out. That way, when we remove webs later, we don't have anything to come set it back up. Even though it is stashed, which is great for him. That way he makes sure no matter what, he can get off those webs. The hail is enough to do that little bit of chip damage and get him off. So our first KO of this season goes to our new acquisition Vanillux, with the big Blizzard there on Galvantula and the hail chip. So here we kind of expect to see Passimian having a mon that can hit us really hard with fighting moves, can basically OHKO us, and that's exactly what he does. So I do expect some sort of close combat or something like that to hit us really hard, maybe a Drain Punch, depending on what he's running. Previously he liked to run Life Orb on Passimian, and it generally was his Dynamaxer, and he does go for close combat there. So Tentacruel is able to take that pretty well. Tentacruel, we're not running too much physical bulk, more especially bulky, so he does take some big damage on that, a little more than I'd like. Luckily we got the Black Sludge recovery. So here we kind of want to see, he's not Life Orb. Maybe he might be Scarfed or something. We want to kind of scout and see if he's locked into a move, kind of figure out what's going on with this Passimian set. So if he is going to be choosing another close combat, we can just sit in on that. Or he can go out and switch into something that's going to put a little bit more pressure on Tentacruel. Either way, we're just going to go for a Rapid Spin here. Even though he does have Gengar in the back, Gengar really doesn't hit Tentacruel too hard, so I didn't really expect that. But he does go for a knockoff, which tells us he's not choice locked, and that does a good amount of damage. Now we're able to get rid of the sticky webs, which is awesome. And we see that we're now, because of that, we're going to be faster. So we're going to be able to get this knockoff just to do some decent damage, and we actually see it's Lumberry, so that was kind of preventing to make sure it wasn't burned. which is interesting because my Arcanine is actually running Will-O-Wisp, but at no point would I bring in my Arcanine against this Passimian because of the fact that um, we are expecting the Defiant, as I mentioned in the previous video. So here I'm kind of deciding what I want to do. It's a faster mon than a decent amount of my team. It's at 80 base speed, so what I want to do is just kind of go into Dracovish, just immediately start hitting that broken move. That way I can start getting some pressure on him. Just one hit here will be able to knock it out. If he wants to switch into something else, nothing on his team really takes this very well. He only has the one water resist of Azumarill, and Azumarill not really bulky enough to be taking those anyway, so he doesn't really have a good switch here. So we'll see what he decides to do, if he just wants to leave this in to get sacked, or if he wants to bring something else in and put some other pressure on Dracovish. So he does stay in. That gets us a free Vicious Ren, and that's going to be enough to knock out Passimian. So, you know, we've got a broken mon, might as well click the broken move. Kind of brainless on here, to be honest. Just we see him go out to Grimmsnarl. So Grimmsnarl's an interesting pivot here. With the Prankster ability, he can do things like get off a Reflect, but I think even through Reflect, we're going to hit it pretty hard. So he actually goes T-Wave. That's really, really interesting. That's going to make us a lot slower. We still do about 75% maybe. So we're still going to be a lot slower now, and we also have the threat of being fully parried. So we'll see. I think we should still be able to outspeed Grimmsnarl, even in paralysis, depending on what his spreads are for Grimmsnarl. But yeah, and we do outspeed it so well. So we're able to knock out Grimmsnarl. We are, you know, paralyzed here, so it's not like I'm going to be able to just run through his team, especially depending on what he decides to bring in. And he's going into Gengar, so I'm anticipating it has Dazzling Gleam maybe. So we'll see if we can take that Gleam and then hit it back. Otherwise, you know, Dracovish has done a decent job here. I'm not too worried about losing it. And he actually decides to go for the Dynamax. A Gigantamax, actually, it looks like. So we'll probably see that Gleam turn into the Max Starfall. That might be enough to knock out Dracovish. Yeah, and sure enough it is. So that T-Wave is actually pretty huge for him, because it was able to, you know, negate Dracovish. Now it wouldn't have been able to speed or outspeed Gengar because of that. And it reveals to be Life Orb. So now we've got a Life Orb Gengar that's Gigantamaxed in front of us. What I decide here, I'm trying to think. Really, I don't have anything that's going to take those two nicely. I kind of want to save Arcanine for after the Dynamax. Primarina definitely doesn't want that Sludge Wave or Bomb or whatever he's bringing, and the Starfall isn't great for Hydreigon. So what we decided to do is we go into Vanillux here, get the Snow Warning. That way we can try to get off a Veil. Hopefully we can live one move and get the Veil off. Even if it's a, I'm trying to think of Gengar's. I mean, he does have access to like Focus Blast, but I don't think he would bring Focus Blast if he's Gigantamaxing. Yeah, so he goes for Max Ooze. So Max Ooze is going to hit us pretty hard, but yeah, we should be able to live it, and we do. So we're able to outlive it, but that's not great because now he's already at +1, and he's got the Life Orb. So the Veil is going to be really important, but I don't know how much we're going to be able to actually live through the Veil. The Hell Chip is decent. What we're going to do is we're just going to hit an Ice Shard here, try to get a little bit more chip damage off before we succumb to his next move. He's probably just going to go for another Ooze. Oh, we get a crit, which is nice. Curse Body really doesn't matter, but that crit is nice, gets us a little bit more chip on it, and he does go for another Max Ooze. So now we've got a pretty decent challenge here in this Gengar that we're looking at. Interestingly enough, Gengar was actually on my original team that I traded to Andrew for Mandibuzz. And earlier in the season, Mandibuzz was actually traded for Primarina. So Primarina is actually what we're going to go out to here. I think with the veil up, we should be able to survive, even if it's the uses a sludge bomb or sludge wave, because we have the veil. Um, but you know, it is +2 and it is life orbed, so um, and it is stabbed. So we'll see how this goes. I definitely know we're not going to be faster than it, so we're kind of hoping that we can just take this hit and revenge kill it with the psychic. As you see, I'm running spec psychic, mainly for the Gengar. So let's see if we're able to outlive or to live this here, this big hit. It's gonna hit like a freight train, like I said, because it's stab, it's +2, it's life orb, and then it's a sludge wave, not sludge bomb. So that's gonna do even more, and even through the veil, holy cow. Um, so I was running a modest Primarina, and man, I probably should have ran that calc first, because I'm running modest specs Primarina with basically no special defense investment. I think if I would have had maybe even a little SPDEF investment, I would have been able to outlive that. But anyways, we go into Arcanine here. We kind of just have to Dynamax back. Basically, nothing else we can do. I know Gengar's really frail, so um, we're gonna have Dynamax to be able to take a hit and then hit it back hard. We'll go for the Max Flare. That way we can set up the Sun. Also, it's our stab move, so it'll hit pretty hard. Um, the main reason we didn't go into Hydreigon there is because Gengar still outspeeds Hydreigon, and being +2 life orbed, I don't think I don't think Hydreigon would have been able to take the. So he does hit us with a sludge wave. I don't think Hydreigon would have been able to take the dazzling gleam because it is 4 times weak. So we do get the flare off. We set off the Sun, and we knock out Gengar. So we're in a pretty decent position right now. Right now, his last couple mons are Azumarill and Exploud. So Azumarill can do, I mean, it can do like Aqua Jet, maybe, is generally what we see on Azumarill. It might be running something else. I'm not too sure what else he might be doing. But a huge power Aqua Jet would hit us decently, but because of the Sun, you know, we kind of help neutralize that. So Exploud actually comes out here. So uh, Exploud I've seen run like some spec stuff, so like a Specs Boom Burst might hit us pretty hard. But with the Veil up, we should be able to live this. And sure enough, we do. Wow, so the Veil is coming in super clutch here. Shout out Vanillux, our new addition. And yeah, and Max Flare is able to annihilate Exploud. So we are taking the chip from the Life Orb. Now Veil is gone. So now it's basically Azumarill, yeah, versus Arcanine and Hydreigon in the back. We're in a pretty comfortable position at this point because even Max Flare not being very effective, we have the Sun up, we have that stab boost. Even if it hits us with the Aqua Jet, it's not going to hit us that hard, so we should be able to get off at least one Max Flare. That'll do maybe 50-60%. So he does go for the Aqua Jet, which is going to hit us first. And the Flare, it actually does a little bit more than I expected, but we are taking that chip from the Life Orb. So figure, you know, he's going to use Aqua Jet next turn, so we might as well use Extreme Speed. The higher priority bracket, don't know if it's going to be enough to KO at this range. But the Life Orb boost is nice, and oh, just not enough. So we live on 4 HP, but the Aqua Jet's enough to knock us out there. So Arcanine did a really good job. Knocked out 3 of his mons and almost got rid of Azumarill. But now we can go into